It really is all over. But did I sacrifice too much? Mr. Naruhodo, I really must congratulate you. It was a truly splendid performance. Honestly, I couldn't be happier for you. Oh, thank you very much. But I really couldn't have done it without you at my side through it all, Mr. Zato. Oh! Your kind words mean so much to me. It really was a very splendid show, that, Naruhodo. I'd have thought you'd be smiling from ear to ear, but you look rather glum. Well, of course I'm delighted about the verdict. But in exposing the truth, I'm afraid I've caused my client a great deal of pain. I'm really not sure that's what a lawyer ought to be doing. Oh well, in that case, I'm quite sure that when you see Lord Van Zeek's smiling face, everything will seem much better. I'm not getting the impression that we're gonna see that. Mr. Zato, everything seems worse. He has a face like thunder. Oh dear, I really shouldn't have presumed. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? Almost a year it's been now since I first encountered you here in this very courthouse. For you to have risen to the level of excellence you demonstrated today, well, it's quite remarkable. But I exposed the most unpalatable truth you could ever have imagined in court today. I feel as though I've robbed you of something you held so dear. What was it he said? To fight those who dwell in the darkness requires at least some of us to occupy the darkness ourselves. But that was just the feeble excuse of a coward. Only those with a steadfast eye for the truth have what it takes to fight the dark forces of crime. You made fine work of establishing that fact in court today. Oh. Well, thank you. What magnanimous words. I'm quite sure that Kazuma-sama would have a smile on his face at this very moment if he were here. Kazuma. Great! You're just as upset! I've just pissed everyone off! This is the best conclusion ever! Mr. Zato, there's another face like thunder here. Oh my, and he really was here. Lord Van Zeeks, allow me to congratulate you on your acquittal. Congratulate me, or curse me. You failed to bring down the Reaper. I owe you an apology. No, it is I who should apologize. Your father, Genshin, if I had been stronger, then perhaps. I made an unforgivable error of judgment. I can offer no excuse. And I can offer no forgiveness. That said, I suppose you fought for justice and the truth. For that, at least, I can't withhold respect. Your words mean more to me than you could know. I will hold them dear. Kazuma-sama. Why am I not getting this moment with him? Come on! I must say, there's one thing that's still bothering me. What's that? The will that Lord Clint Van Zeeks wrote before his duel with my father. Asagi is a fine detective and a hunter worthy of respect. He has agreed to honor my final two wishes. The first is that this document survives. The second, I cannot commit to paper. I have confessed my sins to my wife. May she find resolution in my death. With my eternal gratitude to my Japanese friend, I rest my quill. Clint Van Zeeks. What can the second of his final wishes have been? That your father agreed to honor, you mean? I think perhaps I might be able to shed some light on that. What? Father? It was 10 years ago, as you know, the day before the execution was scheduled. I went to the prison to say my farewells to Genshin. Why aren't you putting up more of a fight, Genshin? If you'd only agreed to it, Seisho and I would gladly petition the government. We've been through this already. You don't need to worry about me. Anyway, Eugen, I have a favor to ask of you. Something of great importance. You're one of my greatest friends, Genshin. Whatever it is, consider it done. I'm going to tell you an address. I need you to go there at once, in secret and telling no one. You should find a lady of the gentry hiding there. A lady of the gentry? She's not in a good way, and she's with a child. The birth is imminent. As a medical man, I'd like you to attend to her. Please, you're our only hope. By any chance, is this child yours, Genshin? Don't be daft. It's a favor that was asked of me by a man I knew, as his dying wish. My goodness! I swore to the man that I would help. That I would do whatever I could for his wife and his unborn child. But if something should happen to me, I need to ask you that same favor. You're the only person I know that I can fully rely on. What did you say? If something should happen to you, tomorrow night you're going to be. You never know, though, do you? What life will bring. All right then. Tell me the address. I'll head there at once with Seishiro and no, not with him. Pardon? This is a favor I'm asking of you, and only you, Eugen. Right, I see. Very well then. That very night, I caught a train from Paddington to Dartmoor in Denton. I found the old house. In the middle of nowhere it was. An old hunting hound lay asleep on the grounds. The poor woman was on the floor at the back of a darkened room. She was in mortal danger. I broke her waters to precipitate the labor before she weakened further. It was a torturous birth. I did everything humanly possible for her and her child. And in the end, I was lucky enough to welcome a new life into the world. But tragically, my efforts to save the mother's life were in vain. I held the healthy newborn girl in my arms and wept for longer than I care to remember. Eventually, in something of a daze, I looked around the room. There was precious little in it, but an old travel trunk caught my eye. It had clearly been well looked after over the years, made of top-quality leather with fine stitching. But it was when I saw the emblem on the side of it that everything dropped into place. B for Baskerville. Baskerville? You mean the woman was the wife of Lord Clint Van Zeeks? That's right. The newborn was his daughter. But that makes no sense! Why on earth wouldn't Clint have entrusted the child to my care in that case? I was completely unaware that he even had a daughter. I suppose he didn't really have any choice. What? Well, your brother said that he'd confessed everything to his wife. So she must have been beside herself with worry for her child. If the true identity of the professor were ever to be made public, the girl would be forever branded as the daughter of the infamous mass murderer. Ugh. So the only solution was to distance the young girl from the Van Zeeks family as much as possible. I don't believe it. I imagine that in his final hour, Lord Clint Van Zeeks made the obvious choice. He would have thought to himself, this Japanese man here is someone I can trust. I honored my promise to Genshin, of course. However, only a month later, I was summoned back to Japan. And without disclosing the parentage of the child, I couldn't obtain permission to take her with me. Oh, how awful. I was completely at a loss. In the end, I had to ask my great friend. I asked him if he would be a father to her. That being Mr. Sholmes, I presume? Yes. He took one look into my eyes and agreed to it on the spot. Mr. Sholmes, he has a heart of gold. Really, all it can be said that I did for the child was to give her a name. Oh? When I'd come to Britain, I was trying to escape from the grief of losing my darling wife. So it was her name that I gave the little girl. Your wife's name, Professor Mikotoba, in other words, the name of my mother, Ayame Mikotoba. Oh! That's right, Ayame, or in English, Iris. Iris. I had no idea. Ouch! Mr. Naruto, what's wrong? This little thing just pinched me up behind through my trouser pocket. Hard!
Ah, my dear fellows, can you hear me?
Mr. Sholmes, is that you? Ow! Yes, we can hear you.
You see what excessive tugging can do. Let that be a lesson to you.
Mr. Sholmes, we weren't able to thank you properly before, but you were simply marvelous. Your checkmate move was a stroke of genius.
Indeed it was, wasn't it? I surpassed myself, I feel. It had become apparent to me that to stop the Lord Chief injustice will require such measures. Bruno, Susie!
Oh, Iris!
Oh, I'm so pleased! What a wonderful outcome! Her Majesty Queen Vicky said she thought my special blend was delicious.
Oh, I'm sure she did. After all, no one brews a more delicious tea than you do, Iris.
Let's have a party to celebrate. And Mr. Reaper, you simply must come too.
What? I'm afraid I couldn't. The Reaper, the Bailey, flustered by a 10-year-old girl. Again.
No, really? Oh, pooh.
But I give you my word that I shall present myself at your residence in the near future to express my gratitude. Oh, how lovely.
You promise now. I won't let you forget. Bye for now, then.
Alright, Iris. Thank you for all your help earlier.
Oh, that was nothing. Just come back home soon.
How? Ugh. One final pinch goodbye, was it? Well, I think I ought to be leaving. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to accompany me? Certainly. Mr. Naruhodo, allow me once again to express my deep gratitude to you. I believe you saved my life. It's about as good as we're gonna get, I bet. Wait, Lord Van Zeeks! Yes? What are you intending to do now? Well, clearly, I shall have to resign from the prosecutor's office. Oh no! I intend to publicize the full truth about the professor case. Once that's done, the Van Zeeks family will be ostracized completely from London society. Surely not. So as soon as I am free from my employment, I shall leave the capital. Oh, I see. Don't be a fool. Are those the actions of a man once feared as the almighty Reaper of the Bailey? I beg your pardon? For the past 10 years, you've endured that pseudonym and been cast as one of the dark forces yourself. Now that you've finally been freed from that disrepute, your battle is just beginning, surely. Well, I certainly never expected to hear those words from your lips. I waited a very long time to come to London. Now I am properly here. I intend to learn all that I can. Anyway, goodbye for now. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Kazuma Asagi. It seems as though he's really matured suddenly. He's not the only one who's matured, Mr. Naruhodo. Hmm? Well, I think we should make our way back to Baker Street. We must help Iris with tonight's dinner. We must. It was then that I came to an important decision about my future. I'm home! Oh, good lord. Ah! About time you got here. You've been waiting ages, aren't you? What are you doing with that colorful piece of history? It's a party, ain't it? It's gotta go off with a bang. I mean, fireworks ideally. But when you ain't got fire, smoke's the next best thing, ain't it? There's a girl on Fresno Street who would help you with that, I think. Right. I'll remember that. You don't have to reload that thing every time I speak. You really must hear this. It's quite the most extraordinary thing. I assure you, it will defy your expectations. Take down every detail now, Mikotoba. Ah, the world-famous great detective regaling his partner with the tale of his adventure. A sight to behold. Would you care to hazard a guess? Where do you suppose the fiendish runaway had concealed himself? Would you believe? Inside the trunk I found abandoned in his cabin? I would believe it, yes. I say, Mikotoba, I detect not a hint of surprise. I wonder why that is, hmm? Maybe because I was there at the scene as well, Sholmes? What? You were? Then why the deuce did you say so before? Not quite the sight I was expecting to behold, but still. It's hard not to feel privileged to see it. Hello, Mr. Sholmes, Professor Mikotoba. I'm finally back from the Bailey. and not a moment too soon. A feast prepared by Iris and Miss Usato awaits. I must say, I haven't seen Susato looking so happy in a very long time. Ah, Runo, there you are. Dinner's on the table, everyone. Please do come and take a seat. Time to fill me boots. Goodness, is that really true, Gina? Yup, I'm losing me corpus cobbler and going back to what I know best. It's a diver's life for me. You're really leaving the police force? But why, Ginny? Cause it's Well, the boss ain't around anymore, so... Oh. And anyway, no matter how hard I try, that Reaper ain't never gonna accept a diver turned dick, is he? Well, people can change, you know. Ah, yes, that reminds me. I rather thoughtfully offer to relieve the bailiff of this now defunct piece of evidence. Eh? It's the inspector's pocket watch, and the crown has been reattached. That watch was his pride and joy, a symbol of his great achievements at Scotland Yard. For 10 years without fail, it measured every second of the man's remarkable career. But now, it's stopped. Someone needs to keep the memory of Inspector Gregson's career alive. By taking on the great responsibility of winding that watch every single day again. Yes, someone with an equally fierce detective spirit. It's gotta be me! There ain't no one else! Quite right. I mean, after all, the boss was... Well, he was my boss. Yes, Ginny. Yes, he was. Oh, yeah. And I made you a promise and all, didn't I, Iris? That I'd become a proper detective one day and track down the old man. Oh! Alright then, it's decided. I'll do it. And I swear, I'll find your dad and bring him kicking and screaming. Good luck with that. I'm not entirely sure that would be appropriate. Yes, I think, Gina, it might be best to, well, I'd like you to forget that promise, Gina. Eh? Iris? Well, obviously I've always wondered about who my real daddy is. Of course I have. I wanted to know where I've come from. I thought it might tell me something about myself. But I've caused such a lot of trouble trying to find out. So many people. Hurley, Bruno, Professor Mickey. Oh, no, not at all, my dear. Really, you owe no apology to anyone. Well, anyway, I decided to give up on it. Because I finally realized my daddy is the greatest in the world. No, he was not. I don't think it matters what his name is or where he's from. Don't you agree? Hurley? With every word, Iris. Thank you, Hurley. Thank you, Daddy. Ah! I'm crying. I'm legit tearing up. So cute. So adorable. I think, Mikotoba. Yes, Shums? I think that I ought to express my gratitude to you. Oh? For 6 years, you and I solved many a mystery together. And during that time, I remember countless expressions of gratitude for our good services. But a moment ago, I heard the most pleasing expression of gratitude of them all. And I should never have experienced it, were it not for you. You old softy, Sholmes. But I must confess, it's a weight off my mind to hear you say it. Well then, I think this calls for a lengthy violin recital, wouldn't you say? Oh, well, the food would go cold, that's the only problem. Maybe next week, Hurley? Are you sure a week is long enough, Iris? Even amidst the most troubling of cases, even reeling from the most shocking of revelations. Returning in the evening to this suite of rooms, there's always warmth and happiness to be had. The home of the world's greatest detective, and my home too, with my greatest family. This attic room has been my home and office for almost a year now. I've certainly had some unforgettable experiences whilst I lived here. But I think now, the time has come. Time to bid this place farewell. Naruhodo. Oh, Professor! Are you alone? I didn't hear any sounds from Susato's room. Yes, Susato-san went out after dinner. She took a carriage. Something about an important matter she needed to take care of. Ah, I see. I wanted to thank you for what you did earlier. Oh? With Iris, I mean. When the subject of her father came up. Lord Clint Van Zeeks. I made up my mind many years ago never to tell her who her real father was. It's what was agreed with Genshin, after all. Lord Clint Van Zeek's final wishes before he died, you mean? Yes, I've had to take some rather drastic steps at times to protect that secret, you know. Calling Susato back to Japan 6 months ago, for example. That's why? When I read Sosuke-san's report about his final days in London, my heart nearly stopped. You'd stumbled across the crux of that terrible case, the dog's collar. The description of the Baskerville insignia left me in no doubt. Baskerville. If you decided to investigate that insignia, sooner or later, you'd have made the connection to the Van Zeeks. And to make matters worse, Susato knew of the unpublished story as well. The story that Iris had written based on my notes from the time. Yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Exactly. It was a work of fiction, but based on the grim reality of a huge beast of a dog being used as a murder weapon. A dog with the Baskerville family emblem around its neck. Armed with those two clues, I feared you and Susato might arrive at the truth. So I invented that story about having collapsed just to justify her leaving London and returning to Japan at once. All in aid of halting any investigations you and she might have been contemplating. I see. Something I've never understood is why Susato-san came across that manuscript in Japan, though. You know, Iris's The Hound of Baskerville story, I mean. Sholmes sent it to me. That was before Susato left Japan. He was very troubled about what should be done about it, you see. I had read it and carelessly left it on my desk, which is where Susato came across it, of course. It was the only case Sholmes and I ever pursued that I didn't record in meticulous detail. I was stunned when I discovered that young Iris had pieced together so much of it from my paltry notes. Sholmes and I discussed the matter and decided that we couldn't allow the story's publication. At that point, I returned to the manuscript by post to Sholmes for safekeeping. So you did all that to stop Iris from finding out the truth about her father. That's right, because Sholmes had told me how astute she'd become. However, having witnessed events in court today, I must say my opinion has somewhat shifted. Oh? I think at some point in the future, the time will come for Iris to know the truth. And when it does, well, I believe it will be for the best. I think so too. Actually, Professor, I wanted to talk to you about something too. Judging from that expression, I'd say you've come to a decision, have you? Yes, I have. I will be returning with you to Japan. Are you quite sure? I'm really only here as a substitute for Kazuma. But he's here in Britain now, as originally intended. Locum student Naruhodo doesn't really have a right to stay, I think. I see. Looking back now, when I first arrived here in February, my becoming a lawyer just seemed to be the way things turned out. With Kazuma, Susato-san, and Mr. Sholmes all gently pushing me in that direction. I spent the best part of a year immersed in this world, but always aware of a seed of doubt inside me. Until today. Standing in that courtroom earlier, all doubts vanished from my mind. I was totally focused. I was sure of my belief in my client, and I was sure I could see the trial through. And at the end of it, I finally realized no one else chose this path for me. I chose it myself. The path of a defense lawyer, eh? Yes, that's what I am now. That's what I'll be going back with you to Japan as. And that's the path I'll be following for the rest of my life. Well, it sounds like you've made quite a resolution there. I have. Very well then. I must say, it's extremely welcome news. I shall make arrangements for your return first thing tomorrow, but I don't imagine we'll depart for a few days. Not with this symposium having been cancelled now. Such a shame. Never mind. I'm sure there'll be another opportunity in the future. Well then, I bid you good night. Oh, no, it's ever moment, Susato. Susato-san. I just wanted to let you know I'm back. Did you, hear what your father and I were discussing? I'm sorry, I did, yes. I couldn't help, but... Oh, how much did you hear? Well... From the part about Iris' real father, I think. In other words, from the beginning. So you've made up your mind. You'll return to Japan and continue working as a defense lawyer. Ah, yes. I'm sorry. I really should have consulted you about it. I did want to earlier this evening, actually, but you had already gone out. Oh, no, that's quite alright. I already knew that it's what you'd decide, Naruhodo-san. You did? Susato-san. Ah, yes? I suppose this means it has to be farewell soon. I suppose. You'll be a great help to Kazuma going forward. I mean, I know he's a brilliant lawyer, but he's new to the British courtroom. He'll certainly benefit greatly having a brilliant judicial assistant at his side. I'll do my very best. I wish I could say it, but I just can't. I can't ask her to come with me. After all, she was always supposed to be coming to Britain as Kazuma's assistant. It's growing late. We should both try to get some sleep. I'm sure you must be exhausted after today. Oh, yes, you're right. Before I retire, let me just say one more time. You really were quite splendid in court today. So, if you ask me, anyone who thinks of you as a substitute or a locum should be ashamed of themselves. Susato-san. Thank you. I can't believe this day's finally come. You're really leaving then, Runo? I love the lighting on Iris's hair right now. I'm sorry to break the mood, but that is really well done. I'm afraid so, Iris. Thank you so much for everything. I don't know what I'll do without your wonderful cooking and delicious tea. Oh, I wish you weren't going. But you have to come back and visit. Say you will. Of course. I promise. Well, it was a very brief reunion, but it was a pleasure to pursue a case with you again after so long. For a while at least, it felt like old times. Yes, I suppose on reflection, there's something to be said for it. Having a little fun once in a while. I'll just go and say goodbye to the professor as well, I think. Alright, Iris, you do that. Ah, the classic steamship honk sound effect.
Susato-san.
I've just checked, Naruhodo-san. Your luggage is already on board. Such a beautiful morning. Perfect for embarking on a journey, isn't it?
Before I set off, I'd just like to say how thankful I am for everything you've done for me. And give my warmest regards to Kazuma, please.
Actually, I think you ought to give him your regards in person, don't you?
Sorry?
Ryunosuke.
Kazuma! What are you doing here?
Do you really think I'd miss my best friend's departure?
Thanks. To be honest, I'd been looking forward to our wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's capital. but,
Well, we'll have to save that for another time. Personally, I'm looking forward to facing you in court again.
Me too. But, we're both defense lawyers, so,
I'm going to become a prosecutor. I'll stay in Lord Van Ziek's tutelage for the time being, but before long, I intend to be just as formidable as the Reaper himself.
Oh, I see.
Actually, Ryunosuke, I have a favor to ask.
Name it.
I'd like you to take care of this for me for a while.
Karuma? Why?
Because I've seen it now. I've seen what's inside me, the demon that reared its ugly head that day. It was only for the briefest of moments. The last time I came face to face with that inspector, but it was unmistakable. I wanted to kill him. I've always known there are demons that live inside people. And now I know there is one in me. The fact that it very nearly consumed me is something I'll carry with me until the end of my days. While I devote my life to fighting those whose demons have got the better of them. As a prosecutor.
So, that's what you've resolved to do, is it?
Until I'm ready to face the demon within me, to slay it once and for all. I leave this in your care, if you'll take it.
Of course I will. I'll keep it by my side, always. Until we meet again, then. You have your path to follow, and I have mine.
Naruhodo-san? The path you're going to follow from now on, I wonder if I might follow it at your side, and unless I'd be a burden.
What? I would very much like you to come with me. But aren't you...
You're so predictable, Ryunosuke.
I am?
Honestly, you never change at all. But that's what I like about you.
You mean you knew about this?
It was the evening after Lord Van Ziek's trial came to an end. She came to see me at the prosecutor's office.
Really? Or when I had that conversation with Professor Mikotoba?
So, you'd go with Ryunosuke back to Japan?
Yes. I know it's unfair of me to follow my own interests like this.
Coming here especially to tell me. You're a stickler for etiquette, aren't you? Well, what are his feelings?
We've never discussed it, of course, and Naruhodo-san has made no such suggestion. I worry that perhaps I'd be a burden to him.
He's just as much of a stickler for etiquette as you are. He'd never say anything before he was asked. But I'd feel happy knowing you were with him. Look out for him on my behalf, will you?
Of course.
Susato-san.
What do you think, Naruhodo-san?
With you by my side, no trial would seem too daunting. So if you're willing, I'd be honored if you'd come with me. Together we can take on the world.
I'm terribly incompetent, but if you'll have me, I'd be delighted.
Oh, no, not at all. If anyone's terribly incompetent, it's me. Ah!
What's wrong?
Your luggage, Susato-san! There's no time! The ship's going to set sail any minute now!
It's alright. There's no need to worry. As it happens, my luggage is already on board too.
It is?
Your fine judicial assistant has everything in hand as always, I see.
Bruno! Your ship's about to leave!
Time to go then. Look after yourself, Ryunosuke.
Kazuma, draw your sword. One day, when our paths cross, once more, we'll fight a duel of words across the courtroom. A day I eagerly await as a lawyer.
I've been waiting to hear you say that, partner.
Don't forget me then, Kazuma.
As if I could, Ryunosuke.
And Mr. Sholmes, thank you so much. I'm very much indebted to you.
Indeed, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you are.
I'll never forget all you've done for me during my time in London.
Quite. I should like to think you will remember your debt of gratitude. Especially when I visit you in your country. What? The truth is, although many are ignorant of the fact, the world is far smaller than most folk realize.
Well, I'd be delighted if you came to Japan one day.
Oh yes! We'd welcome you with open arms, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, that sounds wonderful! I can't wait!
In that case, let us conclude that this is to be merely a brief parting, my dear fellows.
And that brings us to the end of my adventures in Great Britain. A peculiar twist of fate brought me halfway around the world those many months ago. But that was just the start of my journey. Who knows where fate will lead me next? Still, I'm confident this won't be my last meeting with the friends I've made in London. And when we're together again, no doubt the first words I'll hear will be,
Come, the game is afoot!
The ship, with our friends from the east, sailed steadily towards the distant horizon. But Sholmes's face was alight with joy.
The times may change, but a steadfast friendship will remain true, Wilson.
We have but to gently close our eyes, and we are with our companions once more.
So I do just that. And when I do, I can hear his strong, familiar voice ring out.
Objection!
Until we meet again, Bruno.
I've been thoroughly inundated with inquiries about my remote cinematograph since that day. but I'm no purveyor of electrical goods, and what are the promised closed court secrecy? Anyway, I've decided absence in London is in order. I shall adjourn in distant climes. The Empire Japan, perhaps. I understand that wardrobe class incurs no charge whatsoever. I gave a little note to Hurley the other day. It just said, "Thank you for everything, Daddy," but it made Hurley cry. And I gave him some lotion I invented as well, to dye his hair red safely. But he said that might make him cry too, so he'd rather not use it. In those days, when I was known as the Reaper, I felt your presence at my side. Once, unable to bear the burden of that grim pseudonym, I even retired from the courtroom. Despite everything, I still wear your prosecutor's badge with pride. But the darkness that once beset me is no more, as you too are no more. In the words of a young foreign friend of mine, I must stride forward toward a brighter future. The boss left a note for me, you know, and I can read every letter now, A to Z, the whole lot. It's clear to load stuff up. The boss was trying to protect me, see? And that's exactly what me and Chief Inspector Toby out here gotta keep doing for the Londoners. I only wish I could said how grateful I was before he, you know.
Gina, the truth is, I'm not about any fella you think I am. You might be a dive at heart, but it's a good heart. You reminded me I need to be true to myself. I've got one more job to take care of before it's a tar to London for the foreseeable. And then, I've got to complete the education, the art of detecting all like Gregson, as they say.
Your Excellency, this man is accused of illegal entry to the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Objection! Oblique overstatement! Overruled! The Minister has been detained in Britain anyway! Who is this caddish counsel for the defense and woman forbidden to enter the courtroom? Oh really? My friend Issa's in the British courtroom all the time and doing a wonderful job. Perhaps I should engage the service of a regular legal team. Mama, is it true about Japanese people? Are they experts at affiliating corpses? Yes, they are. Fish corpses on the whole. I'd like to hone my own filleting skills. You don't mind, do you, Mama? Yes, I do. I'm not a corpse yet, am I? No. And I'm glad. That woman is going to the gallows. Like, 100%. I'm sorry I'm being relatively quiet, but you can understand I'm trying to say all the lines for you guys. So I need to be certain I'm reading them all in real time. Here I am again in Great Britain on the invitation of my dear old university friend. He sent me a very nice letter saying he'd like to show me around now that everything was settled. But what have I done? I was so excited I picked this splendid hotel and now I can't afford the bill. Oh, Barrack, come to my rescue again, please! I wish I could just vanish into thin air sometimes. When I went to make the waxwork impression of the killer in the cemetery, I realized what had happened. But even in the witness stand of the highest court in the land, I could never speak of it. The Lord Chief Justice and I had struck a bargain, you see. For a faithful reproduction of the visage, there is nothing we tough spells would not do. Everyone calls me Gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passers-by, you know? Everyone calls me Peppino, and I sell spaghetti. It's more red than I had. Everyone, they call me... No, I cannot do it. This is ridiculous. Oh, Daly, how charming. You've made lots of new friends here, I see. Yes, and when we're released, we're all going to strike it rich together. Most of you are just the scum of the earth. I never want to see any of your faces again. I have nothing else to say on that. When I was accepted on the foreign study tour, I knew exactly what path I had to take. And however it might have ended, I knew that I wanted you there to see it. If I'd ended up in the dock, there's no one I would have rather had defending me. But now, thanks to you, there's a new path I want to take. I'm sure we'll meet again in the courtroom, my friend. Until then, I leave Karama in your care. I've made some tea, Naruhodo-san. It's important that you rest while you can. Once we arrive in Japan, you shall be busy establishing your new office. I'm so delighted to be accompanying you. After all, your talents have been recognized by a great detective. Because you really are the greatest of lawyers. A great ace attorney, some might say. Get it? You get the joke? It's because the name of the game is the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, or in this case, Great Ace Attorney Resolution. Oh, that's such a great picture. Oh, that is phenomenal. Look at everyone, even the cat! Oh, what a phenomenal game this was. Okay, so I believe that finally does it for the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I believe there are only 2 games in this. If I am wrong, then I will correct myself immediately on screen, but I am pretty sure that this is actually legitimately the end of things. Now, I just want to say straight up, I know that this series has been painfully on and off. I started this series in 2021, and now we're in 2023. Meanwhile, I've had multiple Let's Plays in between, live stream highlights being done between, and I know that for some of you that it has been frustrating to wait for these, and truly I am sorry. The past couple of years have just been difficult to kind of work through, but I'm glad that we have finally reached the end. This has been a phenomenal series of games, and although some things were a little obvious from the start, I have loved the twists and turns in these games. I really do not believe in these games that there is a single bad trial. There are some that are more relevant than others, like the one that we're kind of seeing references to on screen right now. But every single one of them has a purpose. Everything comes together in some way and has some meaningful impact on things, and nothing really ever disappointed. And I was always happy to see all of these different characters come into play and all the different twists. And I think everything was really well written and well handled. I obviously have my opinions on different characters, and I think some are better handled than others. I think Herlock really came into his own at the end, and I really did love all the things that he did for us in the last case, but for all the times that I sang praise about him, I did find him very frustrating at times. But again, frustrating in a way where he was meant to come off as frustrating, so I don't consider that a bad thing. I just consider that effective writing. Some people may argue that it would have been better to have 5 whole cases as opposed to essentially the last 2 parts of the game just being one big case, but I appreciate that they value our time in such a way where they're not willing to waste it by throwing a case between the professor case and the last one just to stall for time, just to meet the quota of 5 cases. They'd rather just tell a much deeper and grander case that takes that long to do in order to reach to the heart of the matter. And I really, really honestly appreciate it. Of course, again, there was a lot of time in between one case and another, and I know that the videos can get kind of long sometimes. I don't even want to think about how long I had to make this video or how much I had to break it down just to make it work. But I'm glad that we've finally reached the end, and it has been a phenomenal journey. I have very much enjoyed this game. It has been 100% worth the time and effort to make all of these videos for you guys. But like Ryunosuke, we're going to be moving on ahead in life, and we're going to be pursuing new goals and new projects as we proceed on. But I will not forget this game. This is easily one of, if not the best Ace Attorney games that they have made, and I'm glad that we finally got a proper HD port of this game off of the 3DS, because this was a phenomenal set of games to play. Thank you very much, Capcom, for all your work. Now, I would love to see a new Ace Attorney game, as opposed to just a re-release of the frickin' Apollo Justice-based games, even though 2 of the games are not strictly Apollo Justice themed. There are just 3 that have them in there. Anyway, I think we're just gonna let the end thing play itself out, and yeah, next time, something new. Something different. And something I hope that you all will enjoy.